Citizens, not one concerned. All right, move on to item 2, approval of the agenda. To initiate hiring process. Item 6 from the Board Administration, approval of resolution for tax suspension for AB, approval of lifting tax suspension for petitioners who failed to recertify their income or income does no longer qualify for continued tax suspension. Secondary roads, item 7, approve the permit to work in the right-of-way for USCOG of Greater Iowa. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
Any further discussion on any of those items? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, at this point, we're going to recess the Board of Supervisors meeting and convene the Woodbury County Drainage District Trustees meeting. All right, item 8A, receive the report from the drainage engineer. Your time to shine.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Brian Bloom. I work with ISG out of Storm Lake, Iowa, and I function as a drainage engineer. Got a degree from Iowa State University in agricultural engineering. I am a licensed engineer of the state of Iowa. I have provided to Mark Nara the damage assessment for FEMA repairs. I do have extra copies if anyone would like to have one. What we have here is damages to the Wolf Creek Drainage District from the flood event from this past spring. The federal government has issued a declaration of disaster. That declaration number is DR 4421. Woodbury County is a part of that disaster declaration that gives you the opportunity to receive 75% federal funding for damages, 10% funding from the state, and the remaining 15% is that of the public facilities responsibility. So the damages that were received to Wolf Creek Drainage District are estimated at $96,145.65. The federal 75% share would be $72,109.24. That number again, $72,109.24. The state share would be $9,614.57. The remaining 15% would be for Wolf Creek Drainage District at $14,421.85. Again, that is a cost estimate of the damages to the facility. We're looking at bank repair of 10 different sites that would require some riprap stabilization. Tow repair, we have 25 sites where we would have to do some shaping of the side slopes in order to maintain our stability. Debris cleanup, we've got 22 sites of debris that just old tree limbs, things of that nature that got left along the side of the banks. And spoil shaping. We had two areas that the water flowed over the banks and was allowed to just freely flow into the facility. That caused some side slope erosions, so we need to do some side slope shaping in those areas. We have a total of 62 sites in all. So what I'm asking of the board, 1, I'll open up for questions. 2, the motion that I need today is to authorize the engineer to file a RPA, request for public assistance. On that request, we will need to have an authorized agent. That I would recommend the county engineer function as the authorized agent. And then the board appoint myself, Brian Bloom, as the authorized representative. Are there any questions?
Good.
Thanks, Brian. So my question for the good of the board and the good of the public is, will the costs associated with this bring the Wolf Creek to the previous condition, or is there a cost in here to improve some of the conditions that may have otherwise compromised your budget?
In those 62 sites, we will be bringing it back to original conditions. Now, what that means is we will be doing the work to get the sediment out of the bottom of the channel. We'll be shaping the slope. We'll be stabilizing everything. So naturally, you're going to be doing some of that work of removing the sediment in the channel, just because you're there doing that work. So there is some part of that that would be considered, you know, bringing it up above the condition that it was. Problem with that is it's only 62 sites. It's not the entire continuous stretch of the channel. So upstream, downstream, we're not going to be touching it.
Thank you.
You bet. Any other questions?
I'll move to receive the report.
Second.
Motion by Radig, second by DeWitt. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, that passes 5-0. And then moving on, I'll move to authorize the county engineer to file an application for assistance with the state of Iowa for repairs.
Second.
Motion by Radig, second by Ung. Any discussion on that item? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes 5-0. And I will move to approve to designate the county engineer as the authorized agent and Brian Bloom of ISG as the authorized representative of the trustees for repair work.
Second.
Motion by Radig, second by DeWitt. Any further discussion on that? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. All right, thank you, Brian.
Thank you for your time this afternoon.
And at this moment, then, we'll adjourn the Woodbury County Drainage District Trustees meeting, continue the Board of Supervisors meeting. Item 9 from the County Attorney, approval of and presentation of a proclamation proclaiming the week of April 7th to the 13th of 2019 as Crime Victims' Rights Week.
Thank you, and I believe you guys have the
have a
proclamation
copy.
there. Everybody should have received that. They made me basically the unofficial spokesperson for this event that we're going to be taking on. We're going to actually have a presentation on Thursday with the multi-agencies that are involved in the committee with this group. So we've asked the board to approve that
This
proclamation.
is the official one here?
Correct.
All right. All right. Would you like me to read it, or you want to?
You can read it.
You just look like you're pumped to read a proclamation there. So, all right. National Crime Victims' Rights Week. Whereas Americans are the victims of approximately 20 million crimes each year, affecting individuals and communities, and whereas reaching and serving all victims of crime is essential to a thriving community, because those who receive holistic services and support are more likely to remain invested in their communities. And whereas we must make a dedicated effort to expand and circle of those prepared to respond to victims and link them to the resources that can help them recover. And whereas engaging a broader array of healthcare providers, community leaders, faith organizations, educators, and businesses can provide new links between victims and services that improve their safety, healing, and access to justice. And whereas National Crime Victims' Rights Week provides an opportunity to recommit to ensuring that all victims of crime, especially those who are challenging to reach or serve, are afforded their rights and receive a trauma-informed response. And whereas the Woodbury County Domestic Violence Work Group is hereby dedicated to strengthening victims and survivors in the aftermath of crime, building resilience in our communities and our victim responders, and working for justice for all victims and survivors. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Woodbury County Board of Supervisors does hereby proclaim the week of April 7th through the 13th, 2019 as Crime Victims' Rights Week, and reaffirm this county's commitment to creating a victim service and criminal justice response that assists all victims of crime, and to express our sincere gratitude and appreciation for those community members, victims, service providers, and criminal justice professionals who are committed to improving our response to all victims of crime so that they may find the relevant assistance, support, justice, and peace. Date of this date, 9th April of 2019.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
Has to be the least controversial proclamation we've signed.
See, my name's not spelled
All
right
right,
again.
moving on to item number, oh, yeah, we should probably vote on that, huh?
I'll move it.
Yeah. I'll second it then. Motion by Taylor, second by Radig. Any further discussion on the proclamation?
I'll sign it anyway.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Now, moving on to John. Sorry about that. False alarm. IT doesn't know anything about false alarms, right?
That's right.
All right. Approval to upgrade current door security controllers and Millennium Enterprise software.
John Malloy, IT, Chairman and Supervisors. Just a clarification, we're under the understanding that our security system, our proximity security system was expired, the warranty was out. New information in the last couple business days. We're actually expired at the end of this calendar year. But the fact remains that we are not budgeted to upgrade the system. There's components, there's a database component, and then there's the actual controllers, the electronics and all the doors, and what the electronics answer to. So Kenny was gracious enough to offer up funding before the end of this fiscal year, but I think conversations with Dennis and Kenny, we can defer that till this summer if the board is agreeable to fund the project. It is not budgeted for.
Go ahead.
Is there an allocation out of which this will come in FY?
Oh, this would be an addition, and this is why when we actually approved the CIP program, we received it, we actually approved individual categories or projects, because we knew by July 1st it would be changing anyway. And we actually don't borrow the money until May of 20 for any CIP projects done during fiscal year 20. So instead of adding in this year, taking away from another project, it'd be suggested that we wait till July 1st, do this project on our fiscal year 20 CIPs, which we'll borrow in May. Because this is a rolling target, our CIP every year, because there's things that come up here and there that we don't know. This is one of them here, which would be suggested wait till after July 1st to do it.
Agreed.
Because you won't have an overall tax impact, correct?
No, not till 2021. And tax impact would be, under the new law, exempt from the 2% limit, could be debt service.
So what's the recommendation from?
To wait till July 1st, then do the project. Even though they have maintenance till January 1st of 2020, there's no sense in waiting to take a chance of anything, just go ahead and get it installed after July 1st.
Yeah, it's end of life on the product is what it is.
So we're making a motion today to authorize this for that next fiscal year CIP borrowing. I just want to make sure I understand what
You
we're doing.
could, or you could wait till July 1st and come back and do it at that point in time. You could do it either way. If you do approve it today, I will put it as approved in our CIP, and I'll put approved. None of the others have been yet, but this one would be if you approve it today.
How long would their quote be good for?
John would have to answer that.
I would have to ask them.
Kenny Schmitz, Building Services. It might be helpful to John if we approve it today. Some of the items probably have a significant lead time on them. If he could have approval to get things going, he could possibly have everything he needs to go into place by July 1st.
I believe the quote says 30 days validity.
Well, we can tell them that we'll do the job and then within 30 days. But not be ready for it till July. So you're responding to the quote. Sounds fair.
And actually, on this small of a bid, I'm sure Thompson Innovations is really that worried about
Again,
it. I
I would make a motion to authorize the spending for this project after July 1st.
Sure.
second.
Thank you.
Motion by Taylor, second by Potabom. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then anyone opposed?
Day with her walking.
All right, passes 5-0.
Bunch of stuff from prior to that.
Thank you, Jen. Moving on to secondary roads. 11A, consider approval of the detour agreement with the Iowa Department of Transportation for the Iowa Highway 141 Bridge Replacement Project.
That's for this week and last week.
Okay.
It's flat where I need your signature. First item we have is for detour route on the Iowa 141 project. DOT is going to be putting a new bridge deck on the bridge on 141. They'll be utilizing K67, Old Highway 141, and K64 that goes through the town of Hornick. The project time period is estimated to be March 1st, 2020 to November 30th of 2020. I recommend approval of the detour agreement.
I'll move it.
Second.
Motion by Raddick, second by Ung. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Moving on to 11B, approved contract for CP 2019 annual corrugated metal pipe purchases with metal culvert for $239,661. Excuse me.
This is, the contract's been returned for our annual bid for corrugated metal pipe. Metal culverts was the low bid. They've returned the contract for supply. I recommend approval of the contract.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by DeWitt, second by Ung. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Anyone opposed, say no. All right. Passes 5-0. Moving on to 11C, consider approval of Iowa DOT budget for FY 2020.
Each year, the Secondary Road Department does two budgets, one which is the county budget. The second budget is the Iowa DOT budget that's required to be turned in by April 15th. I bring this to you today. This is the last board meeting before that would occur. The figures for fiscal year 2019 are reflective of what was passed with the county budget, with the exception of we did get a federal aid bridge project and some FEMA money that were not included in that county budget. So we have had a slight increase, but both of those are reflected in the construction program and in the receipts side of the project, or the proposed budget here. One of the things that we had discussed was with the additional revenue, we've been able to maintain within the DOT budget the same amount we spent last year for gravel. We're anticipating that money is going to help us keep with inflation for this year as we take bids for our next round of gravel production. I recommend approval of the budget.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by DeWitt, second by Ung. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, passes 5-0. Moving on to 11D, consider approval of FY 2020 Woodbury County 5-year construction program.
The construction program, since I turned it in for board agenda, had one project added. On Friday, we received word from Department of Transportation that the 4th Street Bridge in Pearson, which is our County Road D12 bridge, it's near the east side of Pearson. It's not on Minnesota Avenue, which is the north-south road. This is on D12 that runs through town. The project was awarded city bridge funds. The city has earned 80% of the cost of that bridge, up to $1 million. The county, I'll be recommending, will get a project agreement with this, but I'll be recommending that we pay the 20% match. That is a county road through the town because they're under 500. It is a road of county jurisdiction. So the good thing about this is our swap bridge funds, you know, they're now state money instead of federal money, but
our bridge funds were spoken for on other projects, so this is additional money from outside that the city is able to bring to us because it is a corporate line bridge. We last did one of these projects in cooperation with the city of Bronson, where that 80% money again came in the name of the city of Bronson, and we provided the 20% match, which for that project, $1.25 million was $250,000 out of the county's farm to market budget. This project is estimated at about $1 million. Highlights, I think we had 6 bridge projects in the first year. Our paving of D50 south of Anthon is shown in the 2021 year is what we're looking at right now. I also have shown the grading in the 2020 program. The reason for that is we've had some difficulty with getting right-of-way from one individual in the project corridor. We may have to take that one to condemnation. We're attempting to get it let before July 1, but I can't guarantee that that's going to happen at this point in time.
What was that project?
That is grading and paving at County Road D50. It's approximately 2.25 miles. It's 250th Street. So if you go south of Anthon on Highway 31, 250th Street's where
we had talked about this one, right?
Yeah, we have our stockpiles that are located right at that corner. There's a Little Sioux River Bridge that is right at that intersection, and then it's paving from that Little Sioux River Bridge to the intersection of County Road L27 and D50 is what the eventual project is. At this point in time, we have agreements with all but one property owner. Ben is still working with that individual. A couple of the agreements we still haven't got signed. We're trying to get out there and get those done. But again, we do have one who is being more difficult with that project. You'll see that Haskell Avenue Bridge is not in the 2020 program. We're scheduling that for either a May 7th or a May 14th letting. So that one will be let here before the end of this fiscal year, and hopefully will be under construction soon. Our intersection fillet project continues. We had that work done along Highway 20. We're paving that first 50 feet coming off the highway to allow our motor graders a spot where they can blend in the gravel. They're not having to put their front end out into 65-mile-an-hour traffic. I haven't been billed for all of that project yet. It's shown in both fiscal years 2019 and 2020. We need to see when the DOT is going to bill us for the balance of the project. Last year they billed us, I think it was $96,000 for the first portion of those intersection fillets. We have about $150,000 outstanding on the 3 projects that made up 4 Lane 20 through Woodbury County. If you had any questions from your examination, again, the only change is the addition of that Pearson Bridge. We're hoping we have some money through the competitive bridge program. We have a bridge south of Mobile and one bridge south of Correctionville that are in, we filed an application for a competitive bridge program that's sponsored by Federal Highway Administration. We were part of a grant for 70 bridges statewide on this program. It's outside of the normal federal aid funding route. This was extra money that was authorized by the Congress. We're waiting to hear whether or not we're successful with that. But we do have those reflected in here. We do not have that income stream reflected in here yet. The bridges were in the program. We're hoping we have that federal aid money along to help us with it. So.
Any questions so far? All right, I'll move the approval of the 5-year construction program.
Second.
Motion by Raddick, second by Taylor. Any other discussion on this item?
I have a question. You said that there was an additional project added to the 5-year program since you...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. And again, that we didn't receive word of that announcement until Friday. So.
Okay.
It's a 2020 project, so we need to get it handled quickly. So.
All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Moving on to 11E, consider approval of a detour agreement with the Iowa Department of Transportation for the Iowa Highway 31 paving project.
Iowa DOT is planning a white topping project on Highway 31 from Washita to Correctionville. They're proposing to use Plymouth County routes up to the county line, then County Road D12 and L36 down to Correctionville. I should explain that with both of these routes, we receive what would have been the state's road use tax fund share for the traffic that will be utilizing that detour. The way the DOT is administering detours now, we get treated very well as far as receipts for the extra traffic and consumption of our road that's going to be occurring during that period where it's in use as a detour. So we'll find out what that cash is once the construction period's established. The last one of these was Highway 20 and County Road L21. If you remember the detour around Highway 20 while they were four-laning between Minnesota and Avenue and Correctionville, we received over $75,000 for the use of our road during that period. Plus they resurfaced for us. We won't get the resurfacing on this one, but we will get the cost value of that traffic that's being diverted to our road for that period.
Don't want to set up a fake toll booth or anything out there either.
Well, they'll be providing some of that, but you never know. We have entrepreneurs out there. So.
Any other questions on that? I'll go ahead and move that.
Second.
Motion by Raddick, second by Ung. And with no further discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, passes 5-0. So item 12, I talked with Siloam Mental Health, and they're going to make some changes to what's going on over there, and with the changes that are already happening in Hornick with the, I forget what they are now. Salvation Army's not going to be doing the daily meetings. She said that they don't need this, so I'll move to delete item 12. All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Move on to reports on committee meetings. Jeremy?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So thought we had a very good legislative forum with Senators Parkman, Smith, Representative Boston, Christina, and Representative Hall wasn't able to be there. A couple of things in follow-up to that. The House filed one with Children's Mental Health. That $12.92 million, I'd estimated on a per capita basis, that'd be about $1 million to Woodbury County over the next 2 years. We haven't had any follow-up if there's any other funding source since then. And then the other part that I've been following up with particularly Representative Boston on is how the legislature is going to view the 2% limitation. And one of the concerns I think that we have is how CF Industries revenue, is that going to be seen as new growth or not? How are they going to view TIF? And I did get confirmation from him that you can levy outside of that 2% growth to build reserves up to 25%. The question I had is, next year we have an election and we have 4 union contracts that may very well push us over that cap. And so his response was, the authors of the legislation say that you can actually levy to build up reserves for that year up to 25%. So I thought it was a good meeting, but I think one that we need to keep up as far as making sure that we're in touch with any legislation that's going to affect the county. The other one was I just emailed minutes from the task force of mental health services, the 3 new initiatives that are coming down on mobile crisis, as well as the access centers. And there's one other in there, but the access center alone was looking at $3 to $5 million potentially in startup costs. That was last year's mandates. So you'll have minutes from there. and was really appreciative, really knows, spent about 6.5 hours on those 3 different initiatives over a day. So, more to follow. So,
Matthew? Marty? Rocky? All right, moving on to citizen concerns. Gain to citizen.
Good afternoon. Eric Nelson from Mobile. I'm here by myself, and for that reason, you're lucky because farmers are really busy right now, but the state of the roads is not why they're staying home. It's just because they're really busy. But if a lot of my friends out in the country were, had the time, they would probably be here with me. I managed to get stuck in the middle of Jasper Avenue yesterday between 120th and D12 with a pickup and a trailer right in the middle of a gravel road. And Jasper is a highly traveled road. And so, question, where is, I know this body has tossed out, different thoughts on, how to beef up the roads moving forward. And I probably have missed that, but is it being reviewed, studied internally, or, is that still, or maybe there's already something in motion? I guess if there is, I haven't heard about it. I know our County Farm Bureau meeting is this coming Thursday, and I wanted to try to update a little bit on that as well while I'm going to that. So is that still something that's being knocked around, or has that died for lack of interest?
No, it has not died. It has not died. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're looking at the minimum levy that we're going to have to match, which is $350,000 in order to match that. Is it 75% minimum effort? We're looking to dedicate over the next 10 years about $6.5 million toward travel. And I know that that's not fully where we need to be, but that is a significant down payment on what our county engineer's estimate was, that it would cost about $25 million to rebuild that 5 to 6 inch base that was once had. Because we understand, we hear a lot in the spot graveling that's taking place in the last few years.
Yeah, and I'm really here to implore you to please consider that. I've been on the school board going on 12 years now at Woodbury Central, and while I've been on the board, our enrollment's gone down by 75. Now, some of that was going to happen, but I guarantee you, anybody, this right now is a prime time for people to be moving houses. If you talk to realtors, it's prime time, and anybody, don't be surprised, if you get a call to the group for a tour. I've got 2 sons that have a commercial tour van, but we're not going to take that. We're going to say you need to bring your own personal vehicles, and then maybe have on speed dial a tow truck, because the roads are really bad. And I realize I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I got dirty just getting out of mine I haven't washed it from the other day. It's just, so please, it's a matter of economic development. REC really has a tough time. We've got a large county, and I haven't talked to REC. This is just on my own as a customer and a cooperative member, but they have to maintain infrastructure throughout the county, and boy, it really helps when there's a few more customers along the way. And other counties have managed to. It's helpful when you have a real vibrant agriculture out in the county, and so all those things, they all add up. I do want to throw out an idea, and I've got an interesting perspective, being close to Highway 20 like I am, but I've got a picture here of, and this is on Jasper Avenue, right near Highway 20, and Engineer Nara, I'm sure, has seen this before. And so we're at the western terminus of 20 when the road work started in 2015. So if you look on the right-hand side of that picture, you'll see a steel post in the ditch, and that's the right-of-way. Okay, so the DOT right-of-way goes that far. And when they took that over. They took the road out, built a new road bed. It has a little deeper ditch, and they put crushed limestone on that 4 years ago, and it hasn't been touched. And look what you get when you get to the end of that right-of-way. It's a mess, and it's just a sinkhole, and it's wonderful. I mean, you can drive, you know, even when it's wet, you can drive full speed on that limestone. And there are a lot of counties that are using blending limestone with gravel in weak areas, using all limestone, and it's expensive, but it's not if you don't have to come back. You know, I mean that the dark spot there gets gravel probably twice a year. And the limestone, that area hasn't had it since they started construction in 2015. So, something to consider. Try it, you know, do a stretch of road on a high travel road and you know, do some different things. And right now where the softest spots are is where there's no ditch. If you have no ditch, there's no way that the water can seep away from the roadbed, and it's just a disaster. And so there's two things: to just put gravel on the roads without redoing the ditches. You know, everybody will be disappointed. So and it's expensive. It's hateful, you know. But prioritize the the real through roads, and you know. And I think the engineer, I can't put words in his mouth, but I know he wants to do things, but you know, they're all the things are expensive. But it's really expensive. You spend a lot of labor putting the same stuff out every year, and it disappears just, you know, annually. You know, it's the old adage: if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to probably keep getting what you're getting. And so, I encourage you to look at some new things and aggregate size. And limestone, somehow, I know in all the feedlot roads that I have, it somehow fixes together, and it really it stabilizes over time. And I know if I use gravel, I'd be stuck all the time. I just would be. So thanks for your help, and anything you can do is greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Any other citizen concerns? Moving on to board concerns. Jeremy.
No, I think I'll use mine up on the reports.
Marty, you're right.
I picked up the stickers for the county ATV, UTV ordinance that begins Monday the 15th, so those are at the treasurer's office. I did purchase the very first one. I felt selfish and decided I should have it for some reason, but it might be up for auction later, but
It's on eBay.
But that's all I have. Oh, did the ordinance make it to the website yet, to the county website yet, or is that going to wait until the 15th?
It has to be recorded, so we're waiting for the publication. We can post unrecorded if you'd like it on there, and then replace it with the recorded one when we get it.
If that's doable, I would appreciate it, because I've got a few, or the treasurer's office said they would hand out copies for people that are interested. I made the false claim that the ordinance was posted on the county's website, because I thought I was told it was, huh?
We'll cover your racket.
Well, I made the mistake. I'll own it, but I would like to get it on there as soon as possible so that people can walk in there with knowledge of what they're getting with their.
No, just teasing.
Didn't take them long to tell you it wasn't
No, it
on there.
Could I license my SUV with that and then not have to do the driver's license?
Nope.
Oh, darn. All right, I had no concerns. So we are adjourned.
Sweet.
I had Dennis come up with some possible proposals for doing all the gravel now.